Going. So boys, Josefsky here coming in from Santiago. De los Caballeros. It is Friday. Do you have that Friday feeling, boys? I do. That's why I'm out in El Extraño Jose. You know what? It's my favorite cafe here, and it also has my namesake in as well. How good is that? So, for anyone new to my live, I'm Joseph, aka Wing Bro. Amongst many of my talents, I help guys to transform their personal life at the granular level through a process called daytime cold approach. It's basically going out making connections in the street. I also give people 90-day support virtual wingmanship, and I'm also how many years? I don't know, a multi-decade traveler, and I've been on the road constantly for the last 6 years. So I also give guys insider tips on where the going is good for approach, dating, relationships, friendships, social life, business, where the opportunities are. That is what we're doing here, boys. We're looking for the opportunities out there in the big wide world. If you're in places like the UK, the US, Australia, Canada, I feel like the price of entry for so much is just so excessively high. Think about the guys in America, you know, their price of entry just to get a girlfriend is ridiculous. Think about the price of entry for property for people. It's just excessive. It doesn't make any sense. You can do better. And so this channel is primarily a cold approach and relationships channel, but there's also other stuff I've got in the tank as well, other stuff I can help you guys with. Gracias. And so, yeah, today the first thing we're going to talk about is doing the basics, boys, doing the basics. The first thing we'll talk about is how to get rid of approach anxiety. Like, how to get rid of this fatal disease that you're probably going to die from, called approach anxiety. Okay, if you're unfamiliar with what that term is, quite often when they speak to new people socially, particularly if it's an attractive woman, they get like a physiological response of fight or flight. So their heart palpitates. Brilliant. Cheers, mate. Thank you for that. So yeah, so their heart palpitates, their palms sweat, their pupils dilate. It feels like they're in a sense of physical danger. That is what you call approach anxiety. It's a physiological reaction. And like most things, yeah, thank you. Casanova, good to see you, mate. Appreciate it. Yeah, I like this backdrop. Just doing stuff in my house all the time. It's just before I get back to the main topic. Every time I scan YouTube, I see a lot of talking head relationship videos. And then I go through their channel and I think, wow, this person has filmed this entire channel from one position. The film looks great, the footage is great, the lighting is great, the audio is crisp. But I don't want to do that on my channel. I want to actually demo being out in the wild. That's why I walk around when I do these videos. That's why sometimes I even have spontaneous interactions on these videos, or even when I'm recording a longer video, because that really reproduces what I think people are interested in my opinion anyway, certainly for myself anyway. So yeah, maybe I'm that strange niche of people who want to see that rugged and raw, authentic street life. This is what it is. This is going out into the streets, into the malls, the upscale bars, the low scale bars, the cafes. This is what it's about. And this actually does link into fear and approach anxiety. This really does link into it, because Christian did a live actually on it yesterday, which kind of inspired this topic. But just to build on some of those ideas, one of the things that provokes such an anxious reaction in a lot of people is guys are just not going out these days. They're just stuck in their house. and they're going out socially cold. And so, as a two-pronged attack, I would suggest getting out of your house every single day, seeing and speaking to people. Your local cafe, your local co-working, your local bar. People used to go to the bar every night after work, and they just have one drink. My granddad did it. He ended up becoming the head of the working men's club in Sandyford, Stoke-on-Trent. And so him and my grandma had a great social life. They had no money, they lived in a council estate. My granddad was a lorry driver. But he had a great life. He had like so many friends, he had so much respect in the community. Everyone knew him, everyone knew my grandma. And this was where all the men would go. They would go after work, hard day's graft, and they'd just go and have a drink every night, play snooker, just a wind down, just that nice social human interaction. We seem to have forgotten about this, guys. We seem to have forgotten this is a natural way of life. Everyone is staying at home, just on the internet, ironically watching lives, watching videos like this. And you have to ask, is this really, does this feel good organically in your soul? Stay inside for a week, work at home, and then watch YouTube videos at night. You're not going to feel good. You're going to feel anxious, you're going to feel depressed. You're going to feel like something's missing, because it is. So one thing you can do on a basic level, make sure you're getting out of the house every day. No exceptions. You should be going out of the house every day for at least an hour. We can all go for a coffee at some point. When you finish work, you can go for a walk. If you don't want to drink coffee, I come here in the evenings. I just have a fruit juice, just sit around, chat a little bit, and it just gets me circulating. And I say that as a guy who is more on the naturally introverted side, in a sense. Introversion means where you recuperate energy from spending some time on your own. That's all introversion is. And I'm one of those people. An extrovert, if they spend time alone, they actually go very, very flat. They have to recuperate energy from other people. I get a nice recharge when I just spend 3-4 hours alone reading, and then I'm charged up again. Right? So even as someone who's an introvert, someone who likes to read, etc., solitary pursuits sometimes, I still get myself out every single day. Yeah, so there's no excuses. You should be out every single day. So that'll be the first one. And then the second big point, again, guys are not always doing the basics right. When you go out on your cold approach sessions, you're going to go and approach the princess. You're going to go and find the love of your life, or you're going to go and find your liaison for this evening. You guys are going out, and the first person they want to talk to is like the hottest girl in the street. Especially if you've been inside all week, that's just a double whammy of difficulty. So, people just underappreciate this. It's very target focused. Like, okay, she's fit, go for her. If you're not socially warm at the start of your session, you haven't spoken to anyone. You're not gonna, even if you go in for the approach, you're not gonna deliver your best self, particularly if you're early on. Let's say you've only done 100 approaches overall in the last 3 months, which is pretty good going, but you're still relatively early on. It's not like your brain has completely normalized it yet. If you're going out and the first thing you're doing is looking for the quote unquote target, this is not a good way to do things, especially if you're solo. So what I'd recommend you do is you go out and you have 3 conversations, short conversations, before you've even done an approach. So this is your pre-warm-up. Okay, so your warm-up sets would be your first 3, which you just throw away. They've got to be with an attractive woman or somewhat attractive. The pre-warm-up is where you go out and you just speak to 3 people. Speak to the barista, speak to a random builder, go to the market stall, have a quick combo with the market guy. That will get you warmed up. It will get your vocal cords firing, right? Your voice, learning to just getting your voice active, and just tapping into this more interactive social part of your brain and getting out of that hyper-rational problem-solving part of your brain that most of us do spend most of our working weeks in. I certainly do. And so when I go out, I don't always demand you've got to go for the baddest of the bad on the first approach. Yeah, let's make ourselves, like, cold approach is difficult enough, especially solo. So let's make our lives as easy as possible. And so let's go down to the very, very, very baseline thing. Anybody can do this. Anybody can go over to a group and say, hey, excuse me guys, do you have directions to this place? Yeah, approach number one. Approach number two, chat to the barista. Approach number three, chat to the guy at the market stall. Now you're socially warmed up. Now you're actually ready to do your throwaway warm-up sets. So now you go over to three girls, give them a compliment, just have a conversation, see what happens, but they're sacrificial sets. So you've done 6 interactions, but really, you've not even got started yet. Your afternoon starts on that 4th approach. Yeah, on that 4th approach of a decently attractive girl. And this is something I discovered out in Sarajevo, Bosnia in mid-November last year, which are without doubt the most psychologically challenging sessions I've done, because it was cold, it was very unfamiliar, it was freezing cold actually, and the girls can be quite frosty in Bosnia. Not exactly sultry Latinas in every case, although it obviously varies. But some of them, they'll do this, some English, you know what? The reason I could handle it is because I grew up in Sheffield. Sheffield girls will do this as well. It's like, you go over and, approach them in club, and they won't just be not interested. They'll give you a look of absolute disgust, like truly trying to put you down like you're vermin. And Bosniak girls will, some of them will do that. In reality, what that actually does reflect is a very low level of social skills on the woman. It really does, to be honest. And fortunately, because I knew this from being younger, there was a few situations where that happened. I just weathered it, no real problem. But I think maybe my 2nd or 3rd session out, I thought, man, I'd done all right. I'd got a few numbers, but nothing was sticking, to be honest. 3rd session out, I thought, wow, this is getting tough. It's cold, it's bitter, there's bullet holes in the walls. There's fucking shell holes in these walls, I'm walking past the Genocide Museum here, right? The River Drina, where World War I fucking started. Gritty Bosniak winter. And I'm thinking to myself, I feel like I've never done an approach in my life, ever. And I've done thousands, but that is how emotionally I felt, was like I've never done an approach, ever. And I'm going, man, can I do this, man? This is my free time. Can I actually do this? And my inner voice said, I want to. Can. The blunt truth is, I don't know if I can. The conversation I had with myself was, okay, you might not be able to do an approach today, but what could you do? What could you do? I thought, right, let's go back down to the old school day game pickup artist 2003. Go over and ask the time. Go down to the most baseline things that anybody can do. So that's what I did to begin with, was just go down, right, let's go down baseline. We can all do that. We can all go and ask the time. That's what I went and asked directions from a group of girls, probably about 18. And that was already good, because they kind of looked at me, they gave me a little look and then gave me some directions. Great. Next up, the barista. Next up, some other random conversation. So I'd done my 3, and I was starting to warm up a little bit on this crisp, cold day. Then I started on the 3 throwaways. Okay, 3 throwaways, just compliment. And I think maybe one of them went somewhere, if I remember correctly, but the other 2 didn't. And then I'm like, okay, I'm in now. I'm actually going now. And then by the end of the session, I remember one of those sessions, I closed this Turkish girl. We had like an instant date. And then another one of those sessions, I went into the mall, and I think I did 3 or 4 approaches in a mall. Approached her. Some girls are so hot, you still remember them like a year later. There was a girl who was half Bosnian, half Ethiopian. if you can imagine what that looks like, it's actually pretty, so a Slavic Ethiopian, yeah, Balthus, you've seen both of these places, right? Imagine if you mix them in. Very nice looking, exotic looking creature. And then yeah, by the end of that session, I'm doing even an approach in the supermarket in the mall. You know, so, and this is solo as well. So it's only when you get up to approach number 8, 9, 10, in that situation where I really felt even remotely decent. And so that was just a lesson to self that, okay, no matter how experienced you are, you can be in an unfamiliar situation, your back can be up against it a little bit. If you want to do daytime approach, let's make it as easy as possible to begin with. So the importance of a warm-up is so crucial. It's funny because yesterday, I did a sprint session yesterday. I've been doing a little bit of sprinting just this last couple of weeks, and although my gym is mostly just weights, to be honest, because that's what gives you, especially as you get older, if you want to preserve muscle, like you're not 25, you will have to work it. So I just do weights. But what I really am is I'm a runner. And what I love doing is to run. Short distance, long distance, whatever it is, that's what I love to do, even though I don't do it as much nowadays. So these last few weeks I've been going out doing a couple of just little sprint sessions. And yesterday I'd done an hour-long live where I was sat on my sofa, and then I'd gone straight into work, and I worked for about 5-6 hours straight in calls, you know, on camera, like presenting stuff, high concentration. By the end of the day, I was completely laid. I felt like a broken man by the end of the day. And I was so stiff as well from all the sitting. And I was like, right, let's do a bit of gym work. Okay, do some sit-ups. Let's go for it. Let's do some running. And even walking down the stairs, I was so stiff. I thought, am I even going to be able to jog? And I thought, okay, well, let's just do a super long warm-up. And it's exactly the same as a cold approach. To begin with, I just jogged up and down my street a couple times, then started to just lift my knees up in the air a little bit, then started to do some like half-paced runs. And then in the end, I did a little sprint session, you know, just 6 or 7 short 30-40 meter sprints. Just nice to run fast. But it took me a good 20 minutes to even get warmed up. And it's interesting because when I walked down the stairs, I really did think like, I'm so stiff, I don't even think I can even run at all. So the physical warm-up is exactly like the social warm-up, you know. You'd be surprised what you can do if you give yourself that opportunity. The importance of getting your warm-ups in. Is there anything else on this front? Yeah, in relation to approach anxiety as well, realize this is not a static situation. And also realize this. Approach anxiety, there's a different schools of thought on why people get it. Is it I've heard people say it's a biological instinct because when you're in the caveman days and all this stuff. That's actually not true. Because if it were biological, if it were ingrained in human DNA, that would mean all men would have it. So for example, if I shoot a Beretta next to your head, yeah, you will have a flinch reaction. Every human has a flinch reaction to a loud noise. Every human has that. If you put your hand on a hot stove, you'll have a flinch reaction. You'll move your hand away. Okay, that is biologically ingrained, simple pain responses, right? If it were the case that any type of approach to an attractive woman produces anxiety and stress, then everyone would have it if it were biological, right? And not everybody has it. And even guys who do it, and even you yourself, you don't always have it. If you do approach, you realize, no, I don't always have it. And so just realize, guys, don't buy into the myth, this is ingrained, it's biological. That's a story, and if you examine it, and you examine the logic that I've just given you, you will find that conclusion is correct. I've thought about this quite a lot. It's not possible that that's ingrained. And it doesn't make sense that it would be. When you think about it, it doesn't make sense that it would be. Because we're talking about insemination here, right? We're talking about Sorry, there's people around me, but we're talking about actually getting, a girl to procreate. So if we had such a fear of procreation itself, we wouldn't do it, would we? Yeah, if it was so, or it would become a problem. It would become a problem. So the fear is mostly instilled. Could be from all sorts of areas, bad experiences. You could have been shamed when you were younger. You could be a sensitive guy who's got shamed a few times and you've really taken that to heart. Or it's burnt like a neurological thing into your head. There's all sorts of reasons. You could have nice guy issues, which is, I went into them yesterday. There's all sorts of reasons, but just realize it isn't biological. And if it's not biological, it's plastic, it's neuroplastic, which means it can be changed. It can be changed. I know this because I've had this process myself, which is, I had a very interesting process when I first started cold approach, which was when I first really what I was doing, I just had a few metrics, which was compliment, chat, close. That was all my metric was, which still to this day is effective. It's still actually very good. But I didn't understand things like sessions. I didn't understand you could actually get more confident as you went along. But when I first started off, I would just get I would just feel super hyper, excited but a bit stressed as well. And I would just do one approach a day. As time went on, I realized on a session, if you go and do 5-6 approaches, then you'll start really to feel yourself. And then after I got my training in with Christian, I started to apply it on my own. When I was out in Brazil, I was here in the DR, and I was doing a lot of sessions. I was doing sessions, big sessions once a week, and one or two, at least 1 or 2, 3 approaches in the evenings as well, which is, if you're doing that consistently, it adds up to a lot. And what I found was interesting was, to my dismay, I found I was feeling worse as time went on. I was feeling worse as time went on. I was feeling more stressed, more negative as time went on. And I was doing lots of tools on it and I was managing it, but there was a pattern that was emerging. And then to the point where it was one day I walked down the street on like maybe Wednesday afternoon and I saw a hot girl walking past me. I was going to the supermarket and I started to get heart palpitations and I started to get a response, physiological response. I walked past her and I thought, nah, that's not right. That's not right. What's just happened there? Because I understand Pavlovian training, I've now created a neurological association between seeing a beautiful woman and stress. Like I've got to go into a stress thing now. I've got to fight or flight. I've got to go and do the approach. That's obviously completely unhealthy, and it's something that can happen when you make cold approach too much of a thing. You pressurize yourself a bit too much. The more you do it, you can actually go backwards, and that's what happened to me. And so I realized this. Fortunately, I knew because I understand, as I say, Pavlovian training. I understand some of the basics of neurology. Okay, I can rewire this. There's no problem. I can rewire it. So I took a few weeks out, started to rewire it, started to do different visualizations, taking just some time out to breathe. And then I came back in, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget the first session back out again a few weeks later. I was super relaxed. I'd done this deep visualization about 15 minutes before I went out. My first approach, I went in, felt very little, and this was a girl who was sat outside in a cafe like this, so I kind of went into the cafe to do the approach. It was quite a negative response, but I was still fine. And then my next approach I did was a 2-set. There's 2 girls from Panama, and I truly felt nothing. I truly felt the level of stress that I felt was the level of stress I've just felt when I picked up that coffee. Yeah. I felt nothing. I went out, did this session, and I had this was a complete revelation to me. I was like, that was just nothing. That was one of the best, those Panama girls, that was one of the best sets I've ever done. It was so gangster. I was just like, they said to me, they were like, fucking hell, how long have you been here? And I was like, 3 years. And they're like, you've learned the ways. As in, you've learned the Dominican smooth ways. But it wasn't that. I realized, okay, if I just reprogram this, I retrain the nervous system, I can go over. And I messaged friend Christian and said, dude, I just did like some approaches, and literally it was as easy as going over and picking up a glass of water. It was that easy. That was how easy it was. That was exactly how it felt. It did not feel like a stressful experience at all. And so this is why I say with conviction, approach anxiety it's not something that is biologically programmed. Because I went from 3 weeks before, like having literal heart palpitations, or even seeing someone attractive, okay, and which was something that strangely developed, to 3 weeks later, I'm walking over on my second approach, closing with zero stress, zero, complete relaxation. So completely chill. And I attribute that to the work that I did, the visualization work that I did. I use a process called the lightning process, which created by a guy called Dr. Phil Parker, which I really like. It's helped me a lot. There are other processes you can use. There's different ways you can get yourself in those types of states, but that's the one I use. And it was so interesting to me because, like, wow, I don't even have to warm up for that. I didn't have to warm up. And so there's so many permutations to this. But yeah, if it were biological, that would not be possible. It wouldn't be possible. So just to talk you through some basics, this is not the lightning process, but just to talk you through some basics. Perhaps next time before you go out, think about yourself in your most confident, the most confident you feel, where you feel completely relaxed, you feel completely confident. And it could be playing snooker, it could be playing Call of Duty, where you're like the king of Call of Duty. And just go into that state and really embody it, really embody it. It takes some work to get there. And then start bringing the super attractive girl into that visualization, and then start going over and opening her and talking to her. And what you will find is, if you do it enough, if you do it with enough skill as well, that association, your brain doesn't know the difference between real and unreal. And this is actually where the real power of visualization is. Your brain doesn't know the difference. So you're getting training in, and you're going over, and in an embodied, relaxed state, your Call of Duty state, you're approaching like the hottest, like, AI girl imaginable, right? It's a very powerful technique. I would really recommend it. It makes me think, like, what a cool thing it would be, what a cool innovation this would be if we could get a VR headset where we got absolute smoke shows, and we got used to go over and approach the absolute smoke shows, and it gave you unpredictable reactions as well. That would actually be a really cool tool, because that would train you. Your brain doesn't really know the difference. That would start to train you in approaching, the attractive girl. That would be a really cool tool. Maybe I should develop that. Maybe that'll go up on my new website. We'll get Oculus in. Yeah, Jay, mate, good to see you. Because it would be doing it in a safe environment. But what you find is, with my visualizations, what I found was, and I've used them from the beginning, before I started to work with Christian, who took me through my initial immersion. I've used them from the beginning, and what I found was, if I do the visualization deeply enough, often I might still feel nervous on the approach, I might still feel that sense of tension, but once I'm in the set, I really am feeling myself, which I've noticed is just a difference between when I do it and when I don't do it. Sometimes, like in a set, for example, you can get stress and anxiety that come in later on in the set. That's happened to me loads. I think almost every permutation of what can happen, I do think I've seen. So my first cold approach I did was in Kingdom nightclub when I was 15. No hesitation at all. Did about 40 approaches that night. Finally got my pull. Yeah, absolutely legendary girl who became my first girlfriend. No hesitation at all. She was like the one I wanted anyway. It's a crazy thing when I think about that. I was 15. Me and my mates, we just went around trying to pull anything. And yeah. And so now here I am, 40 years old. The last serious approach I did, I think, was probably Tuesday. I don't know. Did an approach on Tuesday. Yeah, I did an approach on Tuesday. Did a great little session on Monday as well. Great little session on Monday. Closed this Haitian girl as well. But bloody wrote the number down wrong. So annoying. That's why you always check. But so yeah, I've got 25 years of experience. So most permutations, good and bad, I've done. And I really do understand when people talk about approach anxiety, that stress response. I know what it is. I've experienced it. I know exactly what it is. All guys experience this. Or at different times, many guys can do. Maybe it's guys with a more sensitive nervous system. That is also something that's biological as well. But if you do have that, you can realize you can leverage that to your advantage because you can program it. You can program your central nervous system. So yeah, maybe we get the VR programming kit going on. Yeah, it would be good. It would be a great tool. Here's where it gets really interesting though. Here's where it gets really interesting. We talk about that as a VR headset. There's a good likelihood that the world we see around us is basically a VR headset. There is actually a very good chance that's the case. I'll go on a tangent here because I know there's some intelligent guys who watch my channel who are very intellectually curious and open-minded. And yeah, there's the VR headset thing. There's a book called The Reality Illusion, How Evolution, it's something like that, The Reality Illusion, How Evolution pulled the wool over our eyes or something like that, or how evolution tricked us. And it's a book by a perceptual scientist called Donald Hoffman. He's somewhere on the West Coast, USA. I think he's San Diego. A top level perceptual scientist, academic. So perceptual scientist is someone who studies things like the eye, studies like basically the maths and the physics of the eye, in depth, how that interacts with the brain, how it creates our visual field. And they ran a simulation, an evolutionary simulation on whether an organism is more likely to survive if it perceives reality, if it perceives actual base reality, or it was more likely to survive if it only perceives, should we call it, fitness points. The basic, let's say fruit, okay, red fruit, I go to that, I eat the fruit. And what they found in every single simulation they've run is that in every single case, and they've run thousands, the organism which does not perceive base reality always outcompetes the organism which perceives base reality. And so our perceptual systems, the evidence of those simulations would suggest that our perceptual systems, they're not even designed to perceive reality. They're designed to perceive what's called fitness points, things that make me survive. So sharp edge on a table, that might scratch me, that might hurt me. Nice juicy, sugary drink, good. I'll take that in. Good for good for the energy system. Sexually hot woman, go for that. Yeah. It's just reproduction. It's just going for the next layer, the next layer in the game. And I've read his book, The Reality Delusion, and it's heavy, dude. It's heavy. Hoffman is a heavy scientist as well. Heavy maths, and he said when he realized the significance of his theory, he had to sit down for about an hour and just sat in a stupor where he was like, I'm pretty sure this is correct, and what that means is, in a sense, my senses are lying to me, which is really fucking crazy. So you're not even perceiving reality anyway. What we're perceiving is a headset anyway, which is a crazy fucking thing to think about. A crazy thing to think about. And his comparison is, for example, when you play a computer game, you're interacting with an interface. You've got a user interface, and that's what gives you the fun, right? You're going for fitness points, you're killing the baddies, you're getting the points on the computer game. But what is actually happening at base reality is you've got like diodes, like zeros and ones, light gates, whatever it is. I don't know the ins and outs of the computing system. You just got a hardware system that's like flickering around electrically. That's what's actually happening. And what you're seeing in the interface is something completely different. And our control stick to interact with that interface is very effective. We couldn't interact with the ones and zeros and the the electrical currents in the system, but we're not even interacting. When we play the computer, we're not even interacting with what is really going on at the base reality. And Hoffman said, he's actually said, there's a difference between base reality and what we see. It could well be that it could well be that significant. So what we're seeing might be as different from base reality as a computer game of Mortal Kombat is from electrical signals on a computer. So that's a little bit of a side point, but basically it might all just be a VR game anyway. Like, it actually might be. I know Musk talked about it in a speculative way. Hoffman's actually tested this with some simulations on evolutionary game theory. And if you throw that out, the thing is, if you accept evolution, which is a very widely accepted theory, or at least natural selection, maybe not everything in evolution, but at least natural selection, then you have to contend with Hoffman's theory, because his models were all based on that. So it's kind of a crazy thing, to be honest with you. So yeah, longer side tangent, but we may be interacting with a VR headset anyway. Okay, let's get back down to Earth now. Let's get back down to planet Earth. Anything else with approach anxiety? Basic stuff. I did say in the title, and other musings. I don't just want to just completely focus on approach. I do want to talk about some other things as well. Anything else with nervousness? I mean, I think other things to consider as well. If you're solo, having social backup is very important. One of the biggest things guys get when they come to do an immersion, they actually get a training session, is the comfort of having someone alongside you who can just go, right mate, yep, let's get in for that one. And then however it goes, can just give you feedback, or even sometimes not give you feedback, and just be there and be like, yeah, cool, on to the next one. Just the comfort factor of having someone alongside you, I don't think that can be underestimated. I think for me personally, that is what, when I went to train, that is what I was paying for. That's what I put my money down for. I didn't even know anybody who did daytime approach, and I wanted to learn it. Really, I was paying for a wing for 3 days. I actually knew, because I already was pretty efficient on approach because of the club stuff. I'd already closed in the daytime as well, but I didn't feel like I actually had like the understanding of it down. Really what I wanted was a wing just to come with me so that I could go and learn. And that's what my friend Christian provided for me. And even on that first weekend, I closed 10 girls on that first weekend in Manchester. And some of them were in touch for like quite a few weeks. I've never met any of them, but some of them were in touch for quite a few weeks. And that was just because I was already experienced. I already knew that I would close because I knew what to do with approach. But the emotional side was the side I knew I needed help with. So having someone alongside me was such a great benefit. And also having someone alongside me who, this is something I do for students as well, is just who understood. Some of the times when you're making an excuse for yourself, sometimes you're just going to be afraid, man. Sometimes you're just afraid. It is what it is. the perception is that it's this very scary thing to do as a beginner. And so, yeah, he said to me, look, if there's a point where you actually just feel like you're shitting yourself, just tell me. Which is a great thing to say, because for me, I think a lot of guys, we're quite like proud of our bravery or whatever, but there's still going to be times where that fear comes up. I just remember one approach where I was afraid. I said something to my friend Christian. He just gave me a couple of words like, I'll just go and pay her a compliment or whatever. This was a girl at a bus stop, the famous bus stop approach. She was surrounded by people as well, and it felt like you just having the right words in my ear at that particular point just made me go, okay, right, fuck this, let's go. And it was just such a good approach. Completely macked the pants off this girl for like 10 minutes, and even though there were people around me, it went to ones and zeros. It literally like Donald Hoffman. It was all just electricity around me. But the fact I had someone alongside me, that is what made the difference to me. And so this is the thing with my own students, is hopefully if they watch a few videos, they think, okay, I like this guy, he's my kind of guy. And I could see myself walking around doing approaches with him, and as well as the actual knowledge, of how to do this effectively, just having someone alongside you is fucking invaluable. It's absolutely invaluable. And then iteration and feedback as well. So for example, Ethan, the Asperger's guy who just lost his virginity, a true legend of the game, like a true legend. He didn't know, for example, when he was approaching, he didn't know that when he was approaching, his face looked quite afraid. His face looked really afraid. And even though he was doing the right thing, he was getting himself in, he was saying the right stuff, he just had an expression of fear on his face. And that was one thing we worked on quite quickly. There's another guy who came in this summer who, I've never seen this with anybody else. He was going in way too aggressive, and he didn't understand what was going wrong. And it's obvious to me, obviously, as an observer, he's scaring these girls. So we had to just tone it down. If he knows who he is, mate. If you're still around, let me know how it's going. Because I've never had a student who had that. Normally, people go in too timid. Jay, having someone alongside you is huge. Jay is the prime example of this. So Jay is like, Jay's basically the Giga Chad, basically. Apart from the fact he's not 7 foot tall, Jay is the most jacked guy pretty much I've ever fucking seen. And he's also got one of the best title, like if you say a title of a job, it's basically NASA aerospace engineer jacked, right? Mid-30s. And on paper and in person, personable, has got everything to succeed. Absolutely everything. Just like total package guy, right? And I guarantee it's not different for guys who've got all the attributes versus guys who don't feel they've got all the attributes. It's not really any different. And I guarantee if he'd gone out to Belgrade on his own and said, right, I'm going to do 60 approaches in 3 days, I guarantee he wouldn't have done it. And I guarantee he wouldn't have had the same success that he actually did get, which I was not surprised by. By the way, Belgrade is quite hard. So someone like Jay was like a very, very good fit for it. But you're not going to put in that type of volume. You're probably not even going to do any approaches in the street, because you just don't know what to do. There's knowing what to do, and there's having the right guy alongside you. There are all these invisible barriers, and it's only when you start you realize, oh fucking hell, this is tricky. So you do need a little bit of a roadmap, and you need the right guy alongside you. And as things stood, we were able to crack it basically on the first day for Jay, and then it was just a question of just getting better from there. How is it going, by the way, mate? Have you managed to get down to any Christmas markets or anything around your region of England, the southeast of England? But yeah, this is the interesting thing with the whole male-female. There's a cosmic justice in male-female dynamics, because I know guys who are like literal models. My friend Sinner, he's an actor. He has done modeling. You actually meet him in the flesh, you're like, oh mate, you could literally fuck off. Yeah, like, I'm good looking. You're just taking a piss at this point. And he's had just as many issues as anybody else. And in fact, when they get in relationships, these guys have it harder. The good-looking guys have got it harder. They've got to be harder in the relation. They've got to be tougher. They really can't afford any type of passivity because the girl will really resent them for it. It's like, why don't you just act like you look, you know? So those guys actually have it harder, believe it or not, in a relationship. Sometimes as well, sometimes with good-looking guys as well, sometimes girls get weirdly competitive, like they want to be the princess, you know? Like that can be a bit of a weird thing as well. When you see like the super hot girl, she's with like a guy who's like maybe a 6 out of 10. In many cases, it's just her psychology couldn't handle being with a guy who was her level of attractiveness. Believe it or not, that is a thing. I've had women like say this, you know. Yeah, they want to be the princess and they want to be with like the beastly guy. Is there anything else on the topic of daytime approach? I've covered fear. I've covered the importance of warm-ups. I've covered the importance of being generally social. I've covered the benefits of having somebody alongside you, if possible. Anything else here? Is there anything else? I've covered the fact that it's plastic, it's neuroplastic. This is not a biologically ingrained response. If it were, you know, every time, like, if a Glock is going off next to your head, I'm going to bring the Glock back in now. If it's going off next to your head, you're always going to have a flinch response. When I shoot, I've shot thousands of rounds, I still have a slight flinch response. And if anything, it gets a little bit worse over time because your brain learns, oh, the explosion in my hand's coming right now. So that will never go away. Whereas feeling stressed when you approach a stranger, that comes and goes. There's plenty of times where, you know, you don't feel that anything is on the line. The last thing I'll say as well is how much meaning are you attaching to it? That's another big thing as well. So guys who watch my channel, they're probably people who maybe have started to attach like a lot of meaning to their personal life. And it's, in a way, it's a good thing because they understand that this is a vital part of their happiness. But it can also be counterproductive. One of the things that could be counterproductive is where you make women the goal, you make them your North Star, and that you make them your judge, the judge of your success or failure. And that's really where you do fuck up. That's where you will get more stressed. That's where every girl who messages back and doesn't, it's going to be like life or death, make or break. The issue there is you've attached too much meaning to it. This is a big thing, and I've heard a lot of guys say like everything they really do is to impress women, like their physique, I understand that, I understand it, their job, whatever. To an extent, I get it, but this is actually not good. This is not good. This is not a good way to live, and it will paradoxically make you worse as well. The guys who really just don't really give a shit, they genuinely don't, they will tend to get what they want more easily because they're not too attached. So it's this weird paradox where you go after what you want, but it's like also loose as well, loose attachment. And for this, we're getting deep now. This is why you need significant other life purposes other than just chasing girls. You do. Otherwise it will become, it will just become counterproductive. It's like you do it because it's fun. It's a fun pursuit, and maybe have a fun girlfriend, and maybe have a great family, or maybe you don't. But you need to have, in my experience, other pursuits that are just levels more important. Work can be one of them, definitely. That should always obviously be priority, but I don't think that's even quite enough. So I would recommend like other significant pursuits. Set yourself a goal with something big. Jay, mate, you should be entering a fucking bodybuilding competition, mate. 100%. You fucking win. My friend Sinner, the winner, the actor, he's just set himself up he's just doing a marathon. He set himself up with a goal, doing a marathon. I found, because I was writing my book through my 30s, from 32 to about, honestly, 39. It took me 7 fucking years to write that book. Blood and Bronze, get it on Amazon. Joseph Blake. It's got 1 extremely good review so far. But it took me 7 years to write that book. And once I was about halfway through it, I was like, fuck, this is a long-term, almost like having a long-term ailment. I'm gonna have to write my way through this and then edit my way through it. But that was always more important than any girlfriend. Even honestly, it was more important than my job. My job I do to make money, but if I could have quit my job and just worked on that and got it done in 18 months, I would have. And I don't know what drove me to do it. I really don't know, but I just felt it was, for me, I had to write this stuff down. I had to write this book. And so it gave me a North Star that was significantly more important than any girl that would come in and out. And just like, I had so much chaos in my 30s, like fucking breakups. Oh my God. Oh my God. A lot of it was chaos I caused myself, but so much stuff, because I was doing the club promotion as well, and it's all blown. Fucking hell. What an absolute drama queen I was. But none of it mattered to me, really. None of it mattered. The thing that mattered was the book, was the writing. Was basically, when I leave this earth, which, you know, who knows how much time I've got, I want to leave this behind. This thing I need to leave behind. I have to. So my nephews can read it, even if it's only my family that reads it. At some point, like, they'll be like, yeah, I think Uncle Joseph was really in tune with something, right? So that book provided me with something that was so much more important. It was a spiritual direction. It was so much more important than any approach, any girlfriend, any bullshit. That honestly got me through so many things, that book. It got me through like massive injuries, business issues. It just got me through everything, writing that book. So yeah, so having purpose that is much higher than your relationship or your relationship to women is crucial. And paradoxically, it gets you more ass as well. Literally gets you more ass. Because as good as it all is, it's not as important as that. So it could be religion. I think religion's a good one if you can find a religion that suits you, you believe in. It could be a creative pursuit, it could be running a marathon, it could be doing a bodybuilding contest, could be maybe building a business, maybe if you feel that's your life purpose. Yeah, at the moment I'm kind of looking for the next thing. So I'm doing Wingbro. I am looking for a creative outlet. I've not managed to find anything as deep as the writing, to be honest. Back in the dance at the moment. I said to myself after Blood and Bronze last year, I was like, I'm going to take a little while before I write anything new, because I didn't realize what I was getting myself in for. I didn't actually realize, like, once you've written like 70, 80 pages, you're then fucked. You've then ruined your life, because you're not going to feel satisfied until you've finished it completely. And that might take you another 3 years. So you're going to feel mildly irritated for the following 3 years. So I said to myself, like, yeah, that was my book in my 30s. I'm going to wait like a little while before I do my next one in my 40s, if I do one. I think I've got something, actually. I think I've got something for my 40s as well. It's starting to form. Yeah, but anyway, that was my process. That was my process. Could be travel. You know, in my case, honestly, I really do have 6 or 7 things that are above women. Now that I'm coaching, it's become a little bit strange. Like, there are days, because I'm speaking about women every single day, I'm approaching so much. I'm literally running drills so that I can help students next, when the season comes around, basically spring and summer 2026. And I actually can feel I'm putting too much importance on it, even myself right now. But it's because I'm running drills. It's because I'm doing this from a professional point of view. So I'm literally researching certain things. So that next year's product can be even better. But yeah, you as a consumer, and you as a practitioner, You don't need to worry about like every angle. You just need to be effective. Me as a coach, I do need to worry about every angle, because someone comes to me with a question. In my opinion, I need to have the answer to it. But yeah, even with all the experience, if you put too much importance on it, it can become a negative. So I'm starting to bore people. I can see people are leaving alive. That's fine. I think I've run out of steam. So boys, I'll be back in tomorrow, doing a live every single day for the month of December. Hopefully that's given you some tips and tricks on on this thing called approach anxiety, this illusion of the emotions. There's so many ways to get through it. The last thing I'll say is this. So again, I'll reference my friend Christian, because he's the guy who taught me this approach. And we've been working on this whole thing together, himself, Balfour State Game, Full University, Sinner to Winner, but like the content producers, we've been really like, I think we're codifying something that's never been codified before, which is like basically the Bible of approach. And certainly we're taking this in the direction of like a martial art level, skill level. And he said on a live yesterday, you lack consequences for not acting. And this is a great point. This is a great point. And this is something we used to do. So one of the things when I used to do at nighttime when I was out with mates is like, first of all, I felt like I always had license to approach, so that helped. But also, when you're out with other like alpha males, basically, if they see me looking at a girl, I have friends, like one guy used to play rugby, his brother played rugby for South Africa, so you can imagine how this guy was built. He was just a party guy. He saw me once like looking at a girl, and he literally shoved me, and he was so strong. He shoved me. I honestly went about 5 meters towards this girl. He shoved me across the bar. I almost crashed into her, almost headbutted her. And then all of a sudden I'm in set. And bang, we closed this girl. She was fucking smoking as well, super sexual. And he just saw, he's like, yeah, he wants to do it. He just literally threw me into it. And that's what a lot of guys need. So boys, get yourselves around guys like that. But there's also like social consequences as well. So when I post in my group, The Entourage, my own personal private network, that will be starting on January 1st, Bratva Underground. But when you post that you're going to go in and do 5 approaches, I personally feel, because I'm coaching, if I don't do it, I better have a damn good reason why I don't. Or if I say to a friend, right, I'm on the phone, right, I'm going in for one now, I'll go in to do it and then I'll report back to him. Because there's a consequence for me, because I don't want to look like a dickhead, because I'm a proud man. If I say I'm going to do something, that means I'll fucking do it. Because otherwise people have no reason to trust me, and I have no reason to trust myself. The result doesn't matter. Doing it is what matters. And so if I have a social consequence of, if I don't do this, I look like a dickhead, for me that's more than enough. So giving yourself social consequences. I've heard of guys giving their mate 100 quid or 200 quid on a night out, and they say, right, I need to go and do either 10 approaches or approach till I pull. And for every one I do, I get 20 quid back. And if I don't do it all, then you keep the money. This is a great thing to do. I'm going to do that on a video at some point. Balfour, you up for it, mate? I'll transfer you €1,000. Actually, maybe I have to be to a UK bank account, because I'll get charged with the fees. But yeah, doing something financial. Imagine how relaxed you would feel. I'm actually pretty serious about that. I'm going to do it on a video. But imagine how relaxed you would feel if every approach you did, you effectively earned £100. You didn't lose £100. Imagine how relaxed you'd actually feel. It would be completely different. It would really change the dynamic. I've never done it, and I would like to experiment with it. But I've heard of guys doing this. I don't know if it was a myth or not, but I've definitely back in the day heard of guys doing this. I've never actually seen it, but I would like to experiment with it. And then, like, you know, the whole Fight Club thing, where he takes the guy out who's been a pussy about being a medical student. Imagine, this is my new coaching innovation for 2026. you're gonna come to the Dominican Republic, right? Which is effectively Santo Domingo. You know, the notion of law is law and order is, I don't know, how would I put it? It's more of a suggestion, yeah, than it is a fact of life. So we're gonna go out and, we're gonna do your warm-up sets, and then when we see the 10, then I'll pull out my Beretta, put it to your forehead, and say, right, here we go, my friend. Go get her number. We'll go and speak to her. Otherwise, you'll be meeting your maker. Imagine I just like double-crossed you like that, right? And I was actually psycho. I was actually a true psycho. This is just all a big cover. And if you didn't do the approaches, you would literally get a bullet in the head. And that was like that. You knew that was a fact. You knew I'd completely lost the plot. I'd gone native. I'd gone wild, right? Imagine how good you would get at approach. Yeah, you do every approach. Like if you literally had a guy with a gun at your head saying, "Look, dude, you either do that approach or I'll fucking kill you." Genuinely, imagine how you would actually. Do you think you'd have approach anxiety? No, you'd be afraid of being shot in the head by this psychopath with an orange baseball cap. So you'd be like, yeah, approaching's easy. It's easy compared to getting shot in the head. That really, like if you can imagine that scenario, you know that you would feel like that. So again, you know that anxiety is a contextual thing. Same with the money thing as well. So we could do it in both ways, man. We could hit you with both things, yeah? So you as well as the training costs, you have to give me 1,000. No, let's make it bigger. Let's make it 10K. You've got to give me 10K before the session. Every approach you do is £1,000. I'll also have 20 rounds in the chamber as well. And if you fuck up, if you don't go in, imagine how easy that session would be. The easiest session of your life. Every single approach, you're just like, right, I've got $100 back and I'm still alive. You'd be so grateful for the opportunity to go over to a 10 set of mothers and daughters. You'd be like, yeah, this could get me $5,000 here, Yeah. However, I'm not a complete psycho. Don't worry, I'm not gonna pull a gun on you. But you understand the point, right? You understand the point. If you can do that mental exercise, you know that I'm right. So having some negative consequences can be actually really, ironically, can be to your benefit. It can make your life a lot easier. So I think the one that's practical is money. Put 200 euros down. Maybe for you, for USB as well. If you ever wanted to do a session, doesn't have to be with me, but that might be a thing for you as well. Because I think your only issue is just getting yourself into the sets. I've seen you like on video now, and Balthus commented on you. I knew you'd be good, and I've obviously wing with you as well. So that could be a good fun little thing for you to do as well. So yeah, negative consequences, boys. Negative consequences. Yeah, thanks for the compliment, SB. Let's get this girl. Permiso. Oh, she's ignoring me. I don't think she saw me. Yeah, I want to start getting girls into the lives. I want to just have it more interactive. The talking head stuff is fun, I can do it, but the important thing is the guys actually see what it's like to do these approaches. And the way I see it is like, I vary it up. Sometimes I'm very calm, chill. Sometimes I'm bringing a street party. Sometimes I'm causing chaos. It can be all sorts of different things. I just want to demo it for you guys, man. There's so much fun we can have in this thing. So yeah, I've got my Google glasses coming through, my Ray-Bans coming through. I'll have them on Monday. Can't wait to use those. And also we're going to be getting some filming done as well. Carnival is on here in February, so I'll be coming back up. If anyone wants to have the experience of a lifetime, contact me about February, because we could arrange it here. I could not guarantee a better place to do cold approach than the Santiago Carnival. There's no better place I could take anybody than to do this. So I'm hopefully going to be doing some filming here as well during that. Well, I will be. If I can get some proper infields as well as the glasses, that'll be good. But yeah, it's all of February, so I'm probably going to come up for the whole month. And if you want to learn, this is definitely a unique opportunity, to be honest with you. Jay, mate, if you fancy a holiday, let me know. Let me know. Oh my God, seeing you unleashed in a tank top in the sultry streets of Santiago in Carnival, mate. It'd be fucking wild. So yeah, boys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm very much looking forward to 2026. We'll continue on with the lives for the rest of this year. Lots of good things coming though. Bratva will be formed. We will also have, I think probably a monthly meeting for Bratva. I don't think it'll be weekly yet. See what the numbers are like. I'm just thinking who to incorporate in, and who to keep on my sort of personal in my personal book, and then who would enjoy being part of a group. So I think and it's not everyone that I work with I think would want to be part of the group. Some people it's just more of a personal thing, but I think there's definitely guys who would. So that will start on January 1st. The website will also be up as well. At the moment, I'm so snowed under with work that I can't do enough work on Wingbro. And also new footage will be coming out as well. And the whole like brand, like the lifestyle thing, I'm still trying to really work out how to package together everything that I'm actually offering, because it's not just approach. The approach is one aspect, but it's also the international lifestyle as well, and other aspects as well of the interrelationship kind of dynamics. There's certain stuff I can't even put on YouTube, to be honest. Certain quite important stuff. So I don't know if I'm gonna do a paid podcast for that as well. Just charge people like a $5. Just do a couple of podcasts a month. I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot coming through. There's a lot coming through for you boys. The vision is definitely international meetups. I'm pretty much nailed on for Serbia again next summer as well, July, August. There's nowhere else I want to be, to be honest. Even though it's quite, compared to like a lot of countries I'm in, like compared to UK, Serbia is miles more challenging, like for approach. You've got to put up more numbers. But I just fucking love the place. I don't know, I just love the Balkans, the Balkan gangster life. So there's a lot coming up in 2026. It's going to be a great year. Boys, we'll leave it there, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, which will be tomorrow. Maybe I'll go out again somewhere, see if we can do somewhere interesting, see if we can actually do a bit of a street party and get some people involved in the live as well. So take it easy, boys. Catch you in the next one.